Welcome to another episode of the Bulldog Business Show. I'm Scott Grawe, Dean of the College of Business here at Mississippi State University, and your host for the next 13 minutes or so. I'm thrilled today to have with me Dr. Laura Marler. She is head of the Department of Management and Information Systems, and we're going to talk a little about a new initiative that we've got kicking off here. Laura, welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. So one of the things I like to start off with is just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your Mississippi State journey.
Sure. So my Mississippi State journey started in Louisiana, which is where I'm originally from. I did my graduate work at Louisiana Tech University, and I started my academic career here at Mississippi State University. And I'd always heard you would know when it was the right place for you to work for a job. And I still remember being in McCool Hall and feeling like this place is home. And I was so excited to start my journey here. And now I stand here as department head. And so it's definitely been a long and interesting road.
It has been. So, and not just department head, but you're also department head in a department that leads the way when it comes to family business research. So for those listening and watching online, we've got the #1 program in the country and the #2 program in the world when it comes to family business research. What is it about us that makes us so great? But then what is it about family business research that's unique?
That's a really good question. And I think what makes us special and sets us apart as a department in terms of family business research is that it's an area of synergy for us. So we do research in different areas and are trained that way in graduate school. But when we come here to Mississippi State, we all have a common area of research we can contribute to. So it's really nice to be able to walk down the hall and talk to colleagues about something you're interested in studying. Also, it does help that we have one of the world's leading researchers in the field of family business research, which is what I think kind of sparked, this. And that's Dr. Jim Chrisman. He is the Julia Bennett Rouse Endowed Professor of Management. And he's really been a leader in the department in the area of family business research.
He has. And one of the things that I think sets us apart, one of the things I like to talk, as I see prospective students and families and even other business leaders, and we talk about what's going on in McCool Hall, what's going on in the College of Business. One of the things I like to remind people is most of our faculty have some level of business experience, and family business is near and dear to your heart and your life as well. Is that right?
Right, that's true. I think one of the reasons this area of research has really resonated with me is because I come from a family business. And, growing up, I remember when my dad started the business and us sitting in the living room together and addressing invoices to the customers. And so it truly was a family effort to get the business off the ground, and it's still up and running. And I see the level of dedication that my father has had, and now I'm seeing the succession process where things are slowly getting handed over to my brother to run the business. And so it's just a research topic that fascinates me because I see it firsthand regularly. And basically anytime I talk to my family, it's the business is going to come up.
Right. And one of the things I think it's important for us to understand too is when we say family business, we don't always mean small business, do we?
Right. I'm really glad that you asked that question, because I think that when we hear family business, we oftentimes think mom and pop along with that, and we think small business, and that's not necessarily the case. If you think of some of the largest businesses, Walmart, for example, that's a family business. Ford is a family business. Samsung would be another example of a very large family business. So our minds don't typically go to the large family businesses that are so well known, but there are plenty of large family businesses and then small and everywhere in between. So they can range in size. Yep.
And family businesses deal with some unique challenges that other businesses may not be concerned about when it comes to, you and I were talking a little bit before the show about succession and other aspects as well.
Right. I think it's the overlap of family with a business that can make things more complex. And, family businesses are pretty interesting because they have some different goals than non-family businesses. Mm-hmm. And they typically, or in many cases, it's a business you want to hand down to future generations. And because of that, they have a long-term focus that they tend to have. And that leads to behaviors such as being less likely to lay off employees. So to me, it's just a really neat area to study, and there are some distinguishing characteristics that you can see.
And one of the things that I have found interesting as I've talked with students, I get a chance to talk to incoming freshmen at New Maroon Camp and various other events here. And you talk about why are you interested in studying businesses? Sometimes they'll say, well, my family has a business back home, wherever it is. But family business is important to the state of Mississippi, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so over 90% of our businesses in Mississippi are family businesses, according to one estimate that I've come across. So it's really a cornerstone of our economy. And that example you just gave is one of the reasons we've added a class to our curriculum, which is a family business management class. And in that class, it has projects. And in most cases, the students are able to use their own examples because so many of them come from family businesses.
And anytime you can get your own examples into the classroom, it makes for a much more robust discussion. So we're going to put a pin in this conversation for right now, and we'll be right back with more with Dr. Laura Marler.
Mississippi State University's College of Business creates connections that can change lives with more than $2 million available in scholarships next year. Take advantage of the top research institution in the state. Professors have practical experience in their field, and students have the opportunity to work on live projects with partner companies. Earn your MBA online in as few as 10 courses from U.S. News & World Report's Top 100 program. Give your business career a head start. Visit business.msstate.edu to learn more.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Business Show. I'm thrilled that you're here joining us with Dr. Laura Marler. Before I jump back into our conversation, I forgot to mention at the top of the show that we do want you to like and subscribe to our show. You can find us on YouTube. I'm not sure exactly where you're seeing or hearing us right now. You might be catching us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Podbean. But please make sure that you're liking, subscribing, and even sharing this with anybody else who you think might want to stay up to speed with what we've got going on in our College of Business. So with that, Dr. Marler, we've talked a little bit about family business and what we've got going on in the department. One of the big reasons I wanted to have you on the show today is we're rolling out something brand new. One of the things that we are very proud of here in our College of Business is our ability to engage with the business community and make sure that people can find our research accessible. What are we doing to help that?
Well, we are, as of today, have gone live with the Family Business Bulletin. This is going to be a quarterly report that comes out of our Center of Family Enterprise Research, and it will be accessible at thefamilybusinessbulletin.com, and you can even go there to subscribe if you're interested.
Okay, good. So what kind of information would I expect to find in this bulletin?
So I think we've really focused on two areas that we think will be useful for family business owners, especially those in Mississippi. One, we've focused on providing actionable tips that come from our research. And that was kind of one of the things you said, making things accessible and translating research to practice. And so that's one of the things that we are going to do in the Family Business Bulletin. Another thing that we want to do is provide information and make it easy to read information so that somebody doesn't have to go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics to pull reports. We're able to pull some things together. And so, for example, in our first issue, we are going to have some information about Mississippi business patterns across counties. And you can look at the number of entities in each county, the number of employees. You can look at the payroll. And you might be surprised to know the state has over $41 billion payroll. And that was something that surprised me that I didn't know before I started digging into the numbers. But we're going to make it to where you don't have to dig in. You get to look at the report, and it's going to be right there for you to kind of compare across counties and maybe see where your business fits in. Or if you're wanting to grow your business, this could be something that's useful. Or if you're wanting to, consider your market, you can use it for that information as well.
Yeah, and you were kind enough to provide me with a little bit of a sneak peek
Yes.
At this. One of the things I enjoy about it is it's interactive. You can check out individual counties. You'd hover over the counties and so forth, and it'll give you some key information about each one of those. So I'm thrilled, and I'm guessing this isn't just a one and done thing. Are you going to do this more than once?
Yes, so we are going to put this report out every quarter. So we hope to we plan to issue 4 reports a year and have more information similar to that. If you want more of a sneak peek of this issue, one of our section that has to do with tips for family businesses is on succession. And that is something that is critical for a business to succeed and continue into future generations. And it also provides a certain level of stability in our economy if you think about how prevalent family businesses are. In fact, they're the most common form of business in the world. Yeah.
Interesting. So it's not just here in Mississippi. We're finding it everywhere.
Right. And so we have tips on succession that come from actual research, but we've kept it short and something that's easy to digest. And one point I found really interesting is that not only do you need to find a successor who is able and willing to lead the firm into the future, but you need to think about the person who's stepping out of the leadership role, and you need to think about what their future looks like. Are they going to remain on the board of a firm, for example? What's going to help them transition out smoothly so that the new leader is respected and can lead his or her own initiatives, and so that the former leader can still feel valued but can transition to a different role?
So we started off in our first segment, we talked about how we are the leader when it comes to family business research, and I'm going to find as many opportunities to say that as I possibly can because I'm extremely proud of the work that your department is doing in this. But the insights from research that are being published in this, they're not just limited to what our faculty are doing. Is that right? So we're going to pull research that's available for from the industry.
Absolutely. I think what we want to do is provide a combination of distilling down our research into tips, but I think we also want to find information that's just useful for Mississippi's family business owners, whether that's pulling from the Bureau of Labor Statistics or the U.S. Census Bureau. So yes, we're definitely going to pull from a variety of sources because we want this to be informative and easy for somebody to take a look at, because if you're a family business owner, you're probably pretty busy.
Yes.
And so we want to make it accessible.
Definitely. And just very quickly, where can I find information on this bulletin? Where can I find it?
Sure. You can access it on the web. It's thefamilybusinessbulletin.com. Scroll down to the bottom and subscribe.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today. This has been a great conversation. You're going to hear more and more about family business research, the bulletin, and the news available in that. If you can't wait for us to bring it to you on the show, please go ahead and check out the bulletin and subscribe. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of the Bulldog Business Show.